Hey guys, how's it going? Just near again. If your first time to my channel then, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. And this time, we're going to be working on the 78 Scimitar. Haven't really done a whole lot since the last upload. My air filter arrived, so I put that on. That was a bit hard to fit because around here, there's like this fits on, like, I'll show you this side. There's this wee pin here, and you push it and it latches into the underside of the filter. But here it's so close to the choke body that it was quite hard to get in. But I got it in the end. I had to use a screwdriver, but yeah, it's in. Put that back on again. So this actually came with a K&N, but it didn't have the actual filter membrane. And I was priced it up. It was going to be 60 quid, and it was going to be like 2-week wait. And I seen this Rammer one, and this was £83 delivered like next day. So I just bought that there. I thought it was nice to touch anyway. So I was playing around here. So this arm here goes down here. This is your kickdown cable, I think, and then you put your throttle cable here, but it doesn't retract fully, so it always sticks. So what I'm going to do first is try and find some springs to replace these. But yeah, let's just get started in this. Right, we're back, and I have a selection of springs here to play with. This one here is quite tough. That might work, so I'll put this down for now. And we'll try and get rid of these two springs here because they don't feel like they're doing anything, and they're actually very soft. So I'm going to try and get them out. Right, so I've adjusted this. I've made this spring nice and tight. Right, seems to rev a lot better now. So let's see. It's gonna make a loud of me now. Okay, maybe not. Okay, for a brief 20 seconds it was running a bit better there. It's now feels like it's bogging out, and maybe the throttle is too close now. Let's spring on. So maybe I think there's a throttle stop in here. I'm gonna give that a wee half turn, see if we can bring the idle up a wee bit and see if that helps it. Please start, please start. That sound a bit better? Does indeed. Okay. Right, I'm going to try and get the shifter linkage sorted now. Right, so as you can see here, I can bring it out, but I can't get it far enough to get it in the park. So I either need to shorten or lengthen the rod, but I'm not 100% sure yet until I go underneath. Okay, so I've now locked this in park. Oh god, there's so much oil under here. The temptation to diesel swap this is very strong because I don't like anything about it. Bit more. Bit more. There's gonna be nothing left of this by the time I get the fuck out. Bit more. Jesus. It's only on there by a couple threads. No, it's not long enough. What? How is that even possible? Right, so that's it in park, right? This shaft isn't long enough to. Unless I have this side on wrong. Go that way, right? Don't know how that would make a difference in the length of the shaft. No. Is this wrong? is this from? Is this meant to be bent? Oh, I don't know here. Right, so if that was on there, how on earth is it meant to be in park? Right, so there's second, first, drive, neutral, reverse, park. Right, and then that was sitting on there like that. That shaft does not fit onto this thing somehow, even though it says forward on it. And my shifter is in the right place. I got it around the wrong way. Can you put it in backwards? This doesn't make much sense. This bend here catches on the body, and if you turn it around the other way, it doesn't fit. So I'm gonna take this kink out of it here, and I'll see if it fits. Well, by taking that kink out there, I've got it on. It's only on by a couple of threads, mind. So I'm thinking this kink here, I'm gonna just straighten this out just a hair, not all the way, and see if we can get an extra thread or two. But the shifter does work now. I don't know if it's right, but it definitely is better. I'm getting probably half the amount of threads into this wee yoke here now. Let's see if it actually changes gear. Right, so we're in park, reverse, neutral, drive, second, first. Well, it feels right. I wonder what to start. Maybe not. Well, I probably flooded the engine now from cranking it, so got to leave it sitting for a while. This is getting pretty old pretty fast. I think a diesel swap would be so much nicer. Well, not nicer, but easier. I hate this carry on. But we'll just work on something else until we can figure that out, and the petrol will eventually evaporate and we can try again. But we'll have the shifter on at least. I don't really know what to do on the engine front, so I'm just going to continue on with other jobs and we'll see how we get on. So I've made a list. We need to do some seats because there was a set of MX5 tombstones in it. They're over there. But I'm going to sell those and fit my Recaros. I'll show you them in a minute. We need to do fuel lines on it. That needs done regardless if we're going to keep it petrol or diesel. Brake cables, I don't know if they do anything at all. Probably going to have to put a choke on it, but I'm not sure yet, so that's just there. Check the brakes over, and the exhaust is shocking. So I'm going to start with the seats because that's the easiest one. And these are the seats I have. You'll recognize these from my early BMW videos if you've been watching that long. I have these Recaro out of like they're SR3s out of an Evo 4. They seem to fit in here quite well. So what I'm going to do, obviously it'll be a bit higher up because it'll have wheels on it, but I just put it in there to see if it would fit. So what I'm going to do is make the MX5 wheels fit these seats, bolt them to the floor, put some spreader plates underneath, and that'll be the seats mounted. We'll just go over to the other seat now and see what we can do. Well, first off, these are the seats that came with the Scimitar. These are MX5 seats. They're in pretty good nick. I'm going to sell them, get a bit of our money back. I've taken the rails off. We're going to use the rails for these seats. These are the ones that you've seen in there. And this is one of the ones I'm going to put in the AMG. But this is a Recaro, and I'm going to give you a rough idea of how we're going to do this. So these are the ones I had in my MX5 before. But you can see here, I've actually just welded a bit of flat to the side of these. And this is give me the exact same pattern as an MX5. But that doesn't matter in this front. It doesn't really, they don't have to be perfectly MX5 fitting, as long as they're even gap between here and they're square, the seat will move fine. But I don't have any flat at the minute, so we're going to have to do with either cutting this up. This is pretty thick. What is it, like 2.5 mil or something? Or I've got some box sack in here we can cut down to make work. But pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to line these up. We're going to make a bit of flat that goes from here to here. It could be a bit angled, doesn't have to be a bit of flat. and then we're going to weld it to this, and then that means we can then bolt the seat onto this, and then we can bolt this into the car. Pretty simple, but if it's not straight, the seats won't run properly. And then on this side here, the seatbelt buckle, sorry, we're bolt on here. We're going to cut these welds, take this off and cut this off to give us a bit more space. And yeah, I'm going to continue on with this stuff. This is all boring stuff anyway, and then I'll come back when we have the beginnings of some sort of reel. Have this cut and the holes drilled and bolted on both sides. We do need to dress it up and make it look a bit nicer, but for now we're just trying to get the bones of this. So the plan here is I've got a spacer in here. I'm going to put a spacer on there like that. I'm going to set this on. I'm going to measure probably 10 mil from this bolt forward and line up the edge of this mount, or the runner, sorry, and then I'm going to weld that on there like that. We'll pull the spacer out to the same on the other side, and that should centralize, or not centralize, but like, you know, basically make the rails in the same spot on both sides, and then that'll give us our squareness of the rails. And then we'll take it out to the car and see how well it lines up. So I'm going to clean the paint off this here. Don't have to clean the paint off that one because it's not painted for some reason. Weld it on. We'll just run a couple of spot welds. We'll take it out and see how it fits. In that last clip I forgot to say about cutting the old seatbelt buckle mounts out, and then the wee runner bit that goes inside it. Like that's all cut out anyway. And then we now have these on. I actually had to bring it a wee bit further forward because of this wee yoke here that pulls on the wire to activate this one. So we had to put it in that gap, and it gives us a nice length of handle to get in. So it's measured anyway, but it's what, 20 mil instead of 10 mil. But yeah, let's bring it over the car and see if it fits. And most importantly, hopefully the bolts to bolt it down line up somewhere. Right, well the seat's in. It's on one of its original mounts at the minute. Can't reach this one because it's way over here. But we'll drill a new hole for that there because there's a metal cross brace along there. That's pretty good. The rear, I think it will work. I just need to give it a wee bend back down again, and that'll work. But we have one issue here, and the issue is that my door doesn't close. Well, it closes, but it won't close all the way. And I think I can fix that by moving the seat across, because currently when you're sitting in the car at the minute anyway, even with the door not closed properly, you have no room to put your elbow on this door card anyway. So I feel like if it was over, say, an inch, that would work. So I'll pull this bolt out again, move it across. I'm gonna keep on moving across so I can close the door, and then bolt it down and see how we get on. Right, quick recap on this. And I have 2 holes drilled in the floor. Now, technically I've got 3 holes because one was in the wrong place. But I've got 2 holes to actually catch the rails, and then on the back I've actually bent these down further so it catches on this angly bit here. So we'll drill holes in this here, and I'll put a plate in the back, and that should be one seat mounted, hopefully. We'll have this in now. It's actually in 3 bolts. I haven't done the back one over there yet, but I'll show you what I've rough idea what I've done here. This is just a temporary thing so to get the bolt holes drilled, but it's pretty solid. Just have a wee bit of playing it, but I think that is actually in the rails, like that U section thing that the 2 rails sit into to slide on. So I'm not worried about that. One thing I've had to do is I pulled this door card off to see if it would close with the door card off, and it does. So I might have to notch the door card a wee bit, like around here somewhere, because it's only at this top bit, so I could probably do something there. I'm not too concerned about that. What I am concerned about is I don't know how to get these windows up and down. There doesn't appear to be any adjustment anywhere. Like, I don't think they're electric. No way they're electric. See, there's only... What is actually there? Are they electric? No way they're electric. Pretty sure they're meant to be hand wind. I just don't have a hand winder for it. So those two there come up here. Oh, maybe it is electric. Oh, it is electric. How did I make that work? I don't know where the switch is for that. But that's cool. I didn't know I had electric windows. Awesome. I think there's a motor in there. It feels like a motor. Oh, it definitely is a motor. Okay, crisis averted. We have electric windows. This is pretty high spec for something that's what, 46-year-old or something like that. Right. Onto the outside then, I suppose. I'll get that side done. You don't need to see me what's going on that side. This is what it looks like with two SR3s in it. Quite happy with that actually. They're in there quite good. And if you go around to the back, they both sit quite square. So I'm now gonna pull these out, take the rails off, weld the rails up, and then bolt them rails onto my other seats, and then try and sell these seats and get something that suits it better. Shame because I quite like these seats, but they're just a wee bit too wide. I don't really want to modify them. Could modify them. I'm not going to modify them, but I could. If I bent that rail around a wee bit, it would work. But I'm not gonna, because the seats are too good for that carry on. Even though this one's pretty gnarly here and here, and here. But there are good on there. But there are good seats. A wee retrim and they'll be mint. My last sentence in the last clip was saying that I was going to show you it in the car, but I want to show you this first. So I've these welded on now. I round the corners off, a few stitches along the top, and then there's a few stitches along the bottom as well. That's pretty good. That's not going anywhere. See on both sides, and we're ready to go in. Hopefully these seats fit. If we don't get anything else done this weekend, we at least have some seats to sit in. I pretend to drive it. It feels quite nice, to be honest with you. I'm happy with that there. They did a good clean. The cat's been sleeping on them, but look at that. But tell you what, they're actually a sturdier seat than those SR3s. But we now have two seats. One job done. We're gonna cross it off our list. Right, I'm gonna have a look at the brakes and the handbrake and stuff at the back here and see what's going on. On the brakes, I'm gonna start on this driver's side rear, and I have the wheel spacer off. And I have a flathead screwdriver here. Hopefully this will come out. Huh. Awesome. Oh. When have you ever took a drum brake off and it came off that easily? Well, to be honest, this all looks new. Yes. New cylinder. Shoes look good. Well, I haven't actually touched any of this yet. I've just having a wee nosy about, and we've got a few repairs we need to do. There's, where is it? This cross brace here ties up to here, but there's a hole there, so we're going to patch that up, cut the rod out and put a patch over it. And then on this shock mount, top's good, but down the bottom here, if you can see there, see this rotten here, so we're going to redo that as well. But apart from that, oh, and the exhaust is just like this bit of scaffold pipe slid into the original exhaust, and then the back box is slid into the top of it, and it's got this rash as fuck bracket. So in theory I could probably actually see if I can get you in the right angle. In theory that exhaust would just slide out. That is some fine fine workmanship. To be honest with you, I sort of feel sorry for the boy I bought this off, because he paid good money for this, I imagine, and some of the workmanship I've seen is shocking, and I haven't even went poking yet. But all this here is just filled with wax oil or something, so it's kind of preserved a lot of the metal, but we need to clean it all up. I really think power washing this would be a really good job with a turbo, but I'll probably do that first, shouldn't I? That's all day. I'll put the wheel back on, bring it outside and jack it up and try and get it power washed as best as I can, so that I've got something clean to work from. The only reason I didn't want to do that is because it makes an awful mess and I have to wait for it to dry then. No, I'll tell you what, I'll work on it now, and then before I go in later on I will power wash it, and then I can dry overnight, and then tomorrow we can have something clean to work from. But for now we'll continue on what we're doing. So I have the pots there, but I think I'll wait. No, see, I need to do that now, because I need to do that before I do the brakes, because I need to put the brakes back together. Yeah, I don't know now. Yeah, we'll worry about cleaning it later, and we'll just get this bit done now. So many springs. I'll have to figure that out later. Right, so there's where our brake isn't working. This linkage is seized up. Right, this is a handbrake linkage then, and this should rotate in there, but you see solid. Let's get that freed up first. I think I'm going to take this whole backing plate off, put this in the vise. And probably should let that do its job for a bit, but we'll see if we can get it to move without. Oh yeah, there we go. So that should move like that. There we go. Alright, I'm going to clean this up with the wire wheel and the grinder. Just take the rust off, put a bit of grease in there, and that's that done. Just before I show you what I'm doing here, remember we're just getting this back on the road again. We're not going for like a full restoration or anything. This is just, I want to be safe, and I don't know about reliable, but I want to be safe for the road. So fixing this rusty area down here at the shock mount here. Then we're fixing this area here. So I've opened this up with a die grinder back to this nice thick good metal, and cut out the bottom and just cleaned the whole thing up and got it in well through primer now. And I've made this cardboard template, and this is going to sit on there like that. I'm going to bolt it on. That's going to bend around there like that, and then we'll do a full seam weld around that, and that is nice and strong. Obviously it's not beautiful, but I'm not going for that in this build. I just want this to be back on the road again, and yeah, I just want to drive it. So I do. That's the plan. Just get it safe and rip it, and then we'll think about the engine swap later. But first of all, we're going to get on the road first. So this is a bolt I took out of that trailing arm. The threads were done on the end of it, and it's completely and utterly ripped the threads out of the nut, so we can't use that. But I have this bolt here. It's a stainless steel one, but a 270. I'm going to put this in, and it'll at least hold my plate for the time being. There you go, that's what my plate looks like. So it comes around here, down underneath. So I'm going to fully seam weld this on now. It's been a 2mm. I think that should be strong enough for what we want to do. We just want to add a wee bit extra strength to this here. But yeah, let's get that weld though. Okay, so we're jumping ahead here a wee bit, but just trying to get stuff done. I have this bit welded in now. This is all boxed in. That seemed to work quite well. I've now cut out this bit here. Well, I made the hole bigger until I got the good metal, and then I made a patch. Then I made this patch here. So that's going to sit on there like that there. Gonna weld it on, and it'll be mint. The underside had a patch on, you can see there. So I'm going to go at that with a die grinder a bit more and put a decent weld in there, and then we should be done. Well, now I have my patch in. There you go. It's quite acceptable. I tried to tidy up the bit that was underneath. I probably should have just cut that out, but got that in there, got some weld in it, and then dressed it with a die grinder. It looks like someone put a little chewing gum in there, but it's all steel, so, or all MIG weld, whatever you want to call it. So that's that done. I'm now going to replace this fuel line, or not fuel line, the brake line. And I went to loosen it, and obviously it's seized in the union, so we're gonna get that out and put some copper lines in, just because we're here, because them lines are quite rusty and gross. So if we're here, we may as well put copper lines in, and then we can start reassembling everything, and we'll go to the outside. Well, I spent a lot of time messing about with this, and I think it's time to put it back together. I got this all freed up. This is a lovely way to adjust your brakes. It's just one screw at the back. Instead of having to get in, get a screwdriver in, get the wee wheel, spring and everything. That's a pain in the ass. This is lovely. So I just had to remember how I took this apart. I had to order a brake fluorine tool, because this one I have floors it like on the inside, where I need one that does a big cup in the end. So I can't do the brake line, even though I've already made it up. I'll do that there tomorrow when it arrives, or whenever it arrives, not really in a rush. So I'm going to put this brake cylinder back together again. Hopefully my handbrake will work now with this mechanism freed up. Yeah, but I'll see you in a bit when I figure out how to put it back together. And now I have these handbrake tensioners freed up on both sides, and all the brakes look good. I say I'm waiting for a fluorine tool to do the pipes, so I can't do that right now. But the handbrake, it all seems to be connected now, but underneath is where our issue is now. So if you look up here, this mechanism here is for the handbrake. So a cable comes around and it's meant to go around this roller, and it evens it out to both brakes. But surprise, surprise, mine is not on the roller and it's tucked in the side here. So I'm going to have to drop this whole mechanism line, probably just take this pin out here, drop this down and see what I can sort out. Right, I got that out, and I got the cable around the roller, but she's kind of deformed a wee bit there in the shape because of how it was around that bolt. But I'm going to tension this up now. Pretty much just going to adjust this here until we're taut, and then we'll go around and see what it feels like in the handbrake. We have this all tensioned up then, free moving hub. Put the handbrake on, and have any bar here to try it with, but I'll just put the spanner on and put a bit of pressure. Probably do a wee tiny bit more tension, but I'm gonna leave the handbrake on for a few days to try and mold that cable back into the shape it should be. Where is it? Yeah, so it's tight over the roller there now, so I'm gonna leave it there for a few days and then I'll retension it and it should be mint. Ignore the amount of oil into here, but we have brakes. Well, we have rear brakes. Actually, we don't have rear brakes, we need pipes. Well, it's next day now. We can take off a few things from our list. Well, maybe not a few, but one. We got the handbrake cable sorted. I bought a new carb, so that'll sort the choke thing. Brakes. I can't really take these off until we do our pipes. Fuel lines definitely need done. Exhaust definitely needs done. And I was playing about. I do have. Let's start from the start. My mate came around one time with a full hydro kit, actually two. He bought 2 spring boxes and 8 rams, and I was having to play with them last night. Well, this is one here, right? And I've cut the bottom off and I've cut the top off because they won't work for what we want to do. But this is just, I'm probably not going to do this here, but I was just playing. So, I can see it lined up. This is so the shock mounts from here to here, right? So even a full stretch, I could probably run a ram in there and just make a couple of bushings, things up to bolt on, and that means we could have hydraulics suspension. That would be cool. I've never done that before, and it doesn't really involve a lot of modification to the car. It's literally all in the shocks and the spring box, so it's just a case of we're putting 4 eyelets on these here with bushings in them, or not 4, 2, 1 each end, and doing that 4 times. Run some hoses, some wires, and we might be able to have hydraulic suspension, which would be very, very cool. But that's a job for another time, maybe. Say that or coilers, but I would like to use these up, even as an experiment, just to see how it works, just to see if I can make it work. That would be a cool video, wouldn't it? Just trying to make hydraulic suspension with bits that you've been given for free. But yeah, it's just an idea. So what I'm going to do now is actually I want to bring this outside. I'm just going to push it outside, and I'm going to power wash all these around these wheel arches and everything, and just give me a better representation of what it looks like. Also, it means I can work on the front end a lot easier. I have ordered bushings for the front end, so I may pull the whole front end apart in preparation for them bushings arriving. And now the underside of this cleaned. I feel like it took up a good bit of my day by the time I pushed it out, washed it, and then brought it back in again. You could about an hour, maybe, messing about. But it's done now. It's going to make working underneath this thing a lot nicer because I won't get all the rusty bits in my eyes and everything. Well, I probably will still, but it won't be as much. So I'm going to get this thing jacked up on the tool array for doing the brakes here. So I think you put that in there, you put your pipe in, and then you tighten it all up. Screw this in here, and you get your flare. So I'm going to try that out as well and get this back axle done. And that means the back end will be done. Obviously we can't bleed them up right now because we need to strip the front ones, but hey, it is what it is. Right, let's get this jacked up again and start working. Right, so I've already done one of these. It came out quite nice, but I'll show you how I did it. So this is a nice wee tool actually. You could probably work this a lot easier in the car, say if you're trying to do it in the wheel arch rather than do the other one. So I'm quite happy I bought it. And it does 2 things as well. It does the standard normal flare, and then it does that one there. So yeah, so pretty much I've got it in halfway down that hole. Screw this in. I put a wee bit of grease on this here this time to see if it makes the finish a wee bit nicer. Get a shifter. Screw it into the stops. screw it back out again. Beautiful. Right, and Allen key. Oh, there we go. Two ends. I actually think I probably pushed that one out too much. Probably could have got away with like maybe a third into the hole. There didn't come with any instructions to tell you how far in there you're meant to put it, so you're just playing a bit A, but I think I'll be okay. So one down. I'm gonna do the other one now. Well, today it's just fluent, to be honest with you, and I haven't got a whole lot done, I don't think anyway. So I got that brake line finished at the rear. So got that one done, comes over, goes into the splitter, and this one here goes up, put a wee P-clip there to hold it, bring it down. I need to put a P-clip over here to hold this side, and it goes into the cylinder. Then on the front here, I stripped this caliper and everything looks good inside. The pistons are moving freely, there's no rust on them, so put it all back together, that's good. And put a new grease nipple on this ball joint up here. Pull the steering rack gator off because it was ripped, so ordered some of them. I have these top arms out, these ones here, because the bushings were absolutely toasting them. They're really bad, like. Bottom ones are okay, so we're going to leave the bottom ones, and I've ordered new ones of these here. They should be here soon anyway. What else have I done? Just generally cleaned it up down here as best I could. I'm tempted to just give it now a wee bit of a clean, and then I might just brush this all black hammer out to make it look a bit fresher. But yeah, that's pretty much the progress I've done. Oh yeah, someone's already replaced this line with a copper pipe from us, so I don't have to worry about that. That's nice and done. I haven't touched the other side yet, but progress is progress. And then so next time I'm planning to get this here through back together again. We'll get those bushings in, we'll do the other side as well. I'm tempted to hit this all with some black hammerite to make it a bit fresher. Just need a wee bit more of a clean. It shall take some hammerite, no problem. Maybe do hammerite all along here as well. I've got an idea for this here. I want to cut out what I can get here and then weld in as best I can where I can get to, and then we'll put a wee triangle in the bottom here to try to add a bit more strength to it. And yeah, we will power on. So that's going to be it for this time, guys. We've still got plenty left to do in this here, but I don't think it's going to be too long before we can get it back on the road. I did order a new carburetor. It's a Chinese one, but if I can put that on there and it works straight away, we can tinker away at the Weber in the background, get that running properly as well. But I just want something to put on there so we can get this thing on the road and blast. So yeah, we've got the seats in, we've got some more stuff done, we've got some more stuff done, and yeah, perfect. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one if you want to join me in getting this bad boy back on the road again. But I don't think it's going to need that much work.